Swapping is done now.
The topic of discussion in deadlock for today's class is Banker's algorithm. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are in
Yeah.
unit 3.
The unit 3, no, right? As per the book, madam.
Banker's algorithm further has two sub algorithms. They are safety algorithm and resource request algorithm. In a resource request algorithm, there are three steps. The first step says that when a process PI requests for a set of resources, say request made by process I, if it is less than the total need of process PI, we are maintaining a structure in which we are recording what is the total number of resources, what is the total request made by a process, what are the current allocations, and then how many remaining resources have to be allocated. That is maintained. Therefore, here, whenever a process makes a request, it is checked whether the request made by process PI is less than or equal to its total needs. If process PI says that I need 10 instances of resource A, and if 3 are already allocated, then process PI has a right to make only 7 more requests, not more than that. 7 plus already 3 are allocated, total will be equal to 10. That is the total need specified. In case if it is true, then we move to step 2. Otherwise, there is an error. Okay. True means step 2. False means error. Then in step 2, what is done is uh, again further the request of made by process I is compared with the available resources. When PI is making a request for 7, and if the resources available are 5, then this request cannot be fulfilled at that particular time. Later, after the release of the resources by other processes, it may be possible that allocation can be made. When presently there are only 5 available resources, these are available and these are requesting, this cannot be fulfilled. Again, here you have two cases. If this is true, then we move on to step 3. If it is false, then not error, a process has to wait. Process waits until some more resources are added in the available list. In step 3, system pretends that the resources have been allocated to the requesting process, and then the other algorithm, which is safety algorithm, is executed to check whether this allocation will lead to a safe state or not. We know that a safe state is the state of the system in which all processes finishes their execution in some ad hoc manner, in some arbitrary manner, but then they all finish it, and there is no deadlock situation created. Here system allocate, when both the conditions are true, system allocates the resources by decrementing the total number of available resources. Now available is equals to available minus request of I. Now consider that P1 is requesting for 7 resources, 7 instances of a resource, and there are 10 available instances of a resource. Available is equal to 10 and request made by process is 7. So 10 minus 7, the subsequent available value is 3. And then allocation. After available is changed, it has to be allocated. Allocation is equals to allocation plus allocation of I plus request of I. Allocation that has already been made. Now P1 has already been allocated 3 instances of resources. This is the allocation. Allocation is 3 and request is 7. This is request. Now total allocation for PI would be equal to 10. And then need of I is equal to need of I minus request of I. In this example, the process P1 need is fulfilled because total needs of PI is 10. It is done. Suppose the total needs of PI is 12 instead of 10. Let us consider that it has 12. Then what happens here? Allocated is 10 and request total need 12 and allocated 10. So further P1 needs 2 resources. This is now the need of I. This is about resource request algorithm. After a request is allocated, safety algorithm is executed. What is the need of executing safety algorithm? To ensure that this allocation, whatever has been done, does not lead to a deadlock situation. What are the steps in safety algorithm? In safety algorithm, there are 4 steps. The first step is 2 vectors are initialized. Here, as per the terminology used in this algorithm, work and finish. These are the 2 vectors that have been initialized, actually that has been declared, and then okay, declared and initialized. Work is initialized to available. whatever are the available resources, that value you are giving to work. It is a vector. And finish is a vector to keep track of whether the process has completed its execution or not. Therefore, the total size of the finish would be equal to the total number of processes. If there are 5 processes, you declare finish of 5. And then for every I, when a process finishes its execution, then a finish of I would be equal to true. Otherwise, it is equal to false. Initially, all finish values are initialized to false, means no process has completed. And then that is the first step. In the second step, what is done is, we have to find, the system finds a process pi, which meets two conditions. Its finish of I, means finish of process I is equal to false. It is not yet finished, and its need is less than or equal to work. Need is the total need, and work is the available resources, total needs of the resources. Further, uh, here a condition is checked. If there is no such I, then we have to stop the process. If otherwise, you go to step number 3. What do you do in step number 3? You say work is equals to work plus allocation. You are allocating uh, the resources to process I, and then you say that finish of I is equal to true. Means after you allocate all the resources, a process needs all the resources. Then process obviously finishes its execution. And the here again, what happens is, this is like you have to go to step 2. Why do you have to go to step 2? You have to perform this in iteration. 2 and 3 steps are um, executed in the form of a loop until all the processes finishes. Or else, if finish of all process is true, if finish of I is equals to true for all I, for all processes, it implies that the system is in safe state. Okay. Here, in at step 2, what are we doing? If we find this, any process with both the condition, it's fine. Go to step 3. True means step 3. False means step 4. All right, these are the two algorithms, the part of Banker's algorithm. Let us work out on an example for these algorithms. Consider a system, an example of Banker's algorithm. We are considering a system having 5 processes, and there are resources. How many resources are there? Totally, we have 22. There are 22 resources, out of which there are multiple instances. Resource A has 10 instances, resource B has 5 instances, and resource C has 7 instances. All right. And we know that Banker's algorithm maintains data structures to hold the values for available, allocation, maximum, and so on. So for that, what happens is we have 5 processes: P naught, P1, P2, P3, P4, and allocation. Allocation structure, because there are 3 different resources A, B, C. The allocation is made in this manner. This is a textbook example. If you practice this and write the same in the exam, it would be better.
Here resources means what, madam? Here.
Here resources means you can have hardware resources or
Okay.
software resources. In hardware resources, you have printers, hard drive, uh, CD,
CD-ROM, yes.
CD-ROM, um,
Mouse. You can
even
see that.
USB. Uh, Mouse, typically we have only one instance and one user uses. Sometimes
Mhm.
you may have multiple hard disks. You may have multiple printers.
Yeah.
It may also be connected with multiple drives and software resources like files, table,
Okay.
any variable, or any you know any kind of document. You have any executable file, any kind of file. So hardware resources and software resources. You can have 10 printers, right? You can
Yes,
have
yes.
10 different files also. You can
Mm-hmm.
have 5 hard drives. So A means A can be a printer, B can be a hard drive, like that. Okay,
Okay.
here instead of giving the um, names of the actual resources, hypothetical names have been given like ABC, how we use X in mathematics, like that.
And these are the P012. These are processes within which is running this particular.
Exactly. Yeah, these are the processes. There are
Mm.
because our system there are 5 processes. Their numbering begins at P naught and therefore it ends at P4. So essentially, you have 5 processes running in the system. Actually, these are all competing processes. You
Can you
know, they
give
all,
examples, madam? With the example, can you make?
yeah, why not? Uh, on a Linux environment, there is a server. Consider that there is a Red Hat server, and through network, multiple clients are connected. Client 1, client 2, client 3, so on, client 4, client 5, client 6. What happened in this server? Uh, all the resources are connected to the server. Processing is done at server. Client send the request to the server, server executes it, and then this is the system. This system, okay. When we okay, I am saying 5. Let me take only 5. So there are 5 clients and there is one server. All requests request from C1 goes to server, C2 also goes to server, C5,
Okay.
and so on. Okay, and
Okay.
suppose server has um a resource with 10 instances. Consider printer only. Okay, consider
Okay.
that it is an enterprise where you have only one single server and these are all departments, and departments send the requests for printing, because typically what happens is there may be a centralized printer, and when all the requests are forwarded to that printer, it takes printouts. and then C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. Look at their maximum needs. What are their maximum needs? P naught needs 7, 5, and 3. Means at a time, P naught wants 7 printers. Means so much data might it might have to get printed. Okay, at one time it wants 7, and 7 of A. Consider that A is a printer. Here C1 is sending a request to server that it requires 7 instances of a resource, and
Okay.
P1 has 322, and this 902 and 222 and 433.
Madam, can you please scroll down the page, please?
Yeah, sure. These are maximum needs. uh, Yesterday I have given you an example of a banking system, and also toys, a children example, analogy. Please go through. If you have not those who have not attended yesterday's class, it is available on YouTube, and link has been shared. Please go through it once, and then you will get a clear picture of what is happening. Still, I think this example makes sense and clarifies your doubt. So these are the maximum needs. These are the allocated resources. Then can anyone tell me what is there in available? What does available has? A, B, C. How many are ABC total instances? A
Is
resource
10.
A has total 10 instances. B has
Yes,
5
yes.
and C has 7. Some of them have been allocated here. So can you tell me now what is available? Total is this.
Yeah,
You have
A
10,
is
5,
3
7.
here. A
A
will
is
be 3. 3.
3.
5 will be B.
B
5.
is
Sorry. 0, 0, 0. It will be 0.
0. Means 5,
Yeah.
5 have been allocated.
Yes.
How are you doing that? Can you tell me? How did you get this 3?
Yeah, because if you see total available resources are 10, right?
Right?
So already 7 has been consumed by process P0.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Wait.
Madam,
Okay.
I'm unable to see
Wait.
the screen. Someone is sharing other screens.
Oh, who has started sharing the screen? Can you please stop sharing your screen?
You.
Now you
Yeah.
Okay.
I have resumed sharing the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't give
Wait.
the permission to other.
Yeah. I have to check do that settings. I will do it after the class.
Okay.
Um, okay. Wait. I think there is a confusion here. Let me write available, not here, rather here. I will write available here. These are total resources. Now, what are the available resources? You see, to find out what are the available resources, you have to compute the sum of the allocation. This is allocation. So, how many instances of A have been allocated? 2 plus 3, 5 plus 2, 7. And here B, 1 plus 1, 2. And for C, it is 5. So, if you say here allocated, if you put um, this is total, this is allocated, then out of 10, 7 have been allocated, here 2 have been allocated, and 5. So what is available instances are 3 and 3 and 2. Is it clear now?
No, no. Which example? Which process example you are giving?
This is total. This is total.
No, total you said 22 resources. We can say A
Yeah.
is 10, B is 5, and C is 7, equivalent to 22. Okay,
Right.
then you said allocation of 7, 2, and 5. Is 7 2 allocated to all the process? No.
Mr. Wasim, did you
Yeah.
attend yesterday's class?
No, no, I have not attended.
That's why you are getting all these doubts. Others who have attended, are you all getting the doubts which is being raised now, or is okay? Yesterday also we worked out on one example. Yes,
Yes.
Jyoti.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday also we looked at one example.
Ah, yes. That
Uh,
P0, P1 and P2.
yeah, what I suggest is, uh,
Okay, I'll go to that tomorrow classes.
yeah, you please go through that video because it is 1 hour 40 minutes class yesterday.
Okay, okay.
Again, repeating them means because we have limited classes. I have to complete all 5 units, right? So I am planning to complete the third unit now, means in today's class, and also start fourth unit because only 3 classes are left over, I suppose.
Yes,
So please, I request those who have not attended to go through that. Jyoti, have you shared the playlist link in the group yesterday?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Already have shared it. Wasim, just now we spoke now. So
Yes,
just go
yes.
through it.
Yes, yes.
Ah,
Okay, okay, I'll go through it. No issue.
Yeah,
okay,
fine,
fine.
fine. That would be good. So now
Yes.
need. What is need?
Yes.
Need is the remaining resource requirements of a process. A, B, C. Can anyone tell me what is the need for process P naught with respect to A? Yes,
Ma'am,
can
one
anyone
second.
tell?
One question.
Look at here. There are 5 processes. They require some number of resources.
Yes.
These are their maximum requirements. These are the allocated resources. Now what is the need? Further, how many resources they need? So how do you do that? You have to subtract allocation from maximum. So 7 minus 0 is 7. 5 minus 1 is 4. 3 minus 0 is 3. And here 3 minus 2 is 1. 2, 2. And here 9 minus 3. 9 is the maximum need. 3 have been allocated. 3 instances have been allocated. So 9 minus 3 is 6, 0 and 0 because 2 was the need and 2 was allocated. And here 2, 0, 1 and 1. Here 4, 3, 3 minus 2 is 1, right? So these are the needs now for each process. These are the total requirements, these are the allocated resources, and these are the remaining requirements.
Yes, yes,
Okay, this one is clear, right? Now
yes.
we have to go through the Banker's algorithm by um, taking a resource request. Suppose P1 requests 102. What is this 102? Now P1 request uh, one instance of resource A, 0 instance of resource B, and 2 instances of resource C. This is the P1 need, P1. This is not I, it's rather 1. P1. You know we have processes P0, P1, P2, P3, P4. So now P1 is requesting for 102. Whenever a process requests for resources, what happens? Essentially, resource request algorithm is executed. What it does, 3 steps are there in the resource request algorithm. What are the 3 steps? The system has to check whether the request is less than the need. What is the need of P1? Need of P1 is 1 to 2. And what is the request? Request is 102. And what is the need? This is 1 comma 0 comma 2. It's not 1 or 2. And 1 comma 2 comma 2 of A, B, C. Is this condition true? 1 is less than or equal to 1? Yes. 0 is less than or equal to 2? Yes. 2 is less than or equal to 2? Yes. True. True means you go to second step. This is first step. In second step, you check whether allocated plus request. No, you check whether the request is less than available or not. What is the request? 1 comma 0 comma 2. What is available?
6.
Look at here. Available are 3, 3, 2.
3, 3, 2.
This A is 3, B is 3, and C 2.
C is 2.
Right?
Yes.
So here, is this less 3 comma 3 comma 2? Is this less? Yes. 1 is less, 0 is less, 2 is less. Less or equal. True.
True.
True means now you are going to step 3. What are you doing in step 3? You are actually allocating. How are you allocating? Whatever is available. What is available? 3 comma 3 comma 2. That you have to available is equals to available minus request. What is request? 1 comma 0 comma 2. So now what is available? Available is 2 comma 3 comma 0. Okay. And what is allocated? This is available and this is allocated. AV available, AL allocated. What is allocated? Already P1 has what? P1 has been already allocated. Look at this one. This is already allocated. So 2 comma 0 comma 0. And plus what is the request? 1 comma 0 comma 2. So now the total allocation is 3, 0, 2. Right? Now what is the need now of P1? Need means here 1 comma 2 comma 2 minus now this one present request 1 comma 0 comma 2. This is equal to 0 comma 2 comma 0. If you are not understanding, those who have attended, even those who have not attended can ask, but then okay, I'll somehow try to make you understand. If you are not getting, you can interrupt me and ask. Here, resource algorithm, I told you that it has got 3 steps and we have done all the 3 steps. Further, P1 needs 0, 2 and 0. These are the still remaining needs after this request. Actually, total P1 needs, this is the total need. This is allocated and remaining this one. After this, P1 is requesting for this one. After allocation of this one, still P1 needs 0. All right. With this, now after that, we have to execute the safety algorithm. This is resource request algorithm. This is resource request because P1 has requested. So this is resource request. After resource request, we have to execute safety algorithm. In this safety algorithm, first of all, after allocation, we you see that here available resources are these are the available resources, total available resources. We have to make changes in these vector structures as well, allocation, max and need. We need to write all this again. So P0, P1, P2, P3, P4. And what are the allocated resources? P0, 0, 1, 0. P0 is same. Where is the change? Change occurs only in P1 because P1 has requested 102, and when you add 102 to 200, you get 302 here. This one. New allocation of P1 is 302. Earlier it was different, but after it requested 102, it has got now 302. And P2 is already 302. And P3 is 211, and P4 is 002. What are their maximum needs? That this remains same. There won't be any change in maximum needs. The 753 and 322 and 902 and 222 and 433. This maximum needs. And then remaining needs. What are the remaining needs? How do you get that remaining needs? If you just recall, just we studied that remaining needs, when you subtract max minus allocation, you get remaining needs. In this scenario, remaining needs of P1 is 122, a vector of 122. On the contrary, now what happens is you will get a different value. What value you get? You get this 020, 020, because 102 has already been allocated. Remaining needs will remain same. This will be same 743. Here we are concerned with P1 because P1 has made a request. And this is 600, and this is 011, and this is 431. Okay, and the resources A, B, C, total 10, 5, 7. Now how many are allocated? If you sum this up, you get 3, 3, 6, 7, 8. And here it is 2, and here this is 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is total allocated out of 10, 8 here, 8 allocated, here 2 allocated, and here 7 allocated. Then what are the remaining resources? Means available resources. What are the available? 10 minus 8, 2, 5 minus 2, 3, and C is 0 because 7 minus 7. Okay. After this, we have to perform a step-by-step check. Okay, whether with this configuration, all the processes would finish without leading to deadlock. Okay, so how do you do that? We know that there are some steps in safety algorithm. First step is you have to define and initialize two vectors, work and finish. What is work? Work means work is equal to available. What is available? Look at here. Available means available resources. The available resources are 230. So work is equal to 230. What is finish? You are initializing finish of all processes, means finish of I. Here I takes value 0 through 4, means P0, P1, P2, P3, P4. All are, this is false, means they have not completed their execution. The finish of every process is false. Okay. So this finish of I is nothing but, when you expand this, you get finish of 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All you are initializing to false. Next, what do you do next? You start with the first process, which is P0 here. In this case, P0. Finish of P0 means 0. Is it false? You're checking whether if it is false, and if it's needs. What are the needs? Here you see, what is the need of P0? 7, 4, 3. Need of 0. 0 means P0. Need of process 0 is 7. Is it 4 or 5? 4. Seven, 4, 3. Is it less than or equal to work? What is work? Work is this 230. Is it less than or equal to 230? Condition fails because here 7 is greater than 2.
Yeah.
That means you cannot allocate the available resources to P0. P0 has to wait. So what do? You go to next process. I told you that step 2 and 3 executes in iteration, in a loop. So what do you have to do? You have to go to next. Finish of 1. Is finish of 1 false? Yes. So far, no process has finished its execution. Is it false? Yes. What are the needs of 1? Let me take F. In place of a finish, I am taking F. So N1, what is N1? 0, 2, 0. Is it less than or equal to W? W is available to 230. Is 0 less than? Yes. Is 2 less than? Yes. All are true. When all are true, what does it implies? That from these available resources, we can allocate the required resources for process P1.
Okay.
When you do that, now what is the third step? When this is also true, when both are true, what do? You go to the next step. In the next step, you say that work is equals to work plus allocation. What is work? Work is 230 plus what is allocation 1? Allocation 1 means to process 1. What is allocation 1? 302. If you here check out 302. This is the allocation, right? So this is right. 302. Then
How, madam? Can you repeat that A1? How it comes? 302.
okay. 302. Check out this one.
Yeah.
P1.
Okay. Yes, yes.
302.
Okay.
Available 230 plus available means it's like work. Work and available are here the same, pointing to same thing. A1 means available, no, allocated to process 1. allocated to process 1. What resources you have allocated? 302. When you perform some operation, you get 5, 3, 2.
Adding up.
Why are you adding up? It means that now P1 has finished. You know there are three
Four.
steps for a process to use the resource: request, use, release. Okay. Once all the requests have been given, provided to the process use them and then process release them. When here we got to know that here we could satisfy the requirements of P1. Because of this, we could satisfy the requirements of P1. So then P1 has finished its execution. When it has finished its execution, you are revoking the allocated resources from P1 and marking P1 as finish of 1 is equal to true, and taking back these allocated resources because it has finished. It here allocated was 302 and its need was just 020. If you allocate 2 of B to it, then it finishes. It gets the total resources requested and it
Yeah.
uses and then it releases.
The available resource count will increase once
Right,
the process is
exactly.
finished. Okay.
Exactly. Available count increases and process finishes. So that's what we did here. Available count we increased. How did we increase? By adding the allocated resources to P1 with the present available. This is present available. This is allocated to P1. When you add both, you get now available 532. And you should say finish of 1 is equal to true. Now, at one place you should keep track of how process are ending. Let me write here in this corner, P1 has finished. Okay. Next, go to again step 2 and f of next process 2. 0 could not complete because its requirements were more than the available resources, so it could not complete. Then we moved on to 1. 1 has done, finished, and returned. Its finish is marked to true.
Yeah.
Going ahead,
Go to P2 process now.
right? We have to go to P2 and we have to check. Is finish of 2 false? Yes. Can anyone tell me what are the needs of P2?
Go up,
Is
madam.
anyone
Then only.
working out with me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So P2
P
needs are
600.
600.
Yeah.
600. And this one, is it less than work? What is work?
I think
532.
532.
Can you satisfy or fulfill the requirements of P2?
False.
False. It is
False.
false.
False means go to
No,
the
P3.
next, yes,
P3.
f of 3. Is it
False.
false? Yes. Initially we initialized all to false. What is need of 3? Can anyone tell me?
Go up, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Need of P3.
222.
This one.
Need of, yeah.
Need. This is need. 011.
Yeah,
This is total
011.
need.
011. Yes, yes.
Here we have allocated as 211 already. So it is
Okay.
011 now.
So major difference between maximum need and exactly need is that up to that allocated, I mean to say total need, we get the resource, right?
Total needs means how many resource instances are required by a process to finish its execution.
Okay.
That is total needs.
Okay.
Okay. So, for example, in a bank, what happens every day if they have to, if withdrawal, there are 2 crores of withdrawals, suppose, then they have to keep 2 crores with them. So that is the total resources. Then
Yes, yes.
customers come in. So some customers take some. Some customers may say that I need 5 lakhs, but bank will say that right now I cannot give you 5 lakhs. You wait until the evening. Now you take 2 lakhs. Somehow you manage. If suppose amount left, some amount will get left over by today evening, I will give you more 3 lakhs. Sometimes it may happen, you know. So that way, whether we can allocate full resources to a process, or a process has to wait, and how many process is requesting right now. This is all about that.
Okay.
So N3, what is work?
5,
Work is
5, 3, 3, 2.
532. So this is true.
Yes, true.
Because it is true, now what you have to do, whatever is allocated to 3, what was allocated? Again, we have to check here. What is allocated? 211. So this 211 plus available. 211 plus work. Work is 532. Now work is equal to 7 4 3. Okay, 7 4 3. And then here, here this P1 was done. First P1 was finished. Now P3 has finished. All right.
Yes.
Then and then we have to mark f of
Available.
3 is equals to
True. Is it? No, true.
true. Finish of 3 is true. Next, go to
The total work will be 743, right? For 3, 4.
total.
Available resource.
Yeah, total available. These are now total available resources, because we have revoked these resources from P3 because it has already been completed its execution.
Yes, yes.
Okay, next to f of going ahead to the next process, which is f, whether finish of 4 is false. Yes. Can anyone tell me the need of 4? Need of 4. Again, we have to go up and check. Need of 4 is 431. 431. And is it less than or equal to work? What is work? 743. Yes. Yes. Yes means now to available resources we add the allocated one. What? How many have been allocated? 002. So 002 plus 743 is equal to 745. This is available. Next, you have to again go back to f of 0. You have to start all over again until all finish is equal to true. So apparently it is, running in a iterative manner. So f of not is it is its finish false? Yes. F naught was not finished its execution. What is its need? If you check here, finish of 0 false, it was true, but its need was greater than available. Its need is 743. So need of 0 743 Is it less than or equal to work, which is 7, 4, 5? Yes.
Yeah.
Because it is yes, you have to now add up the allocated resources of P naught, which is 0, 1, 0. So allocated of 0, 0, 1, 0 plus work 7, 4, 5 is equals to
7, 5.
7,
7,
5,
5,
5.
5.
Okay, this is now work. Work is 7, 5, 5. Then P. Oh, okay, okay. Here I have to add P after P3. P4 has finished.
Yeah.
After P4, uh, P
P
naught
naught.
has finished. Now leftover one is F of 2 is false. Yes. And what is the need of 2? Need of 2 is 600, I think. Need of P2 is yes
3,
600.
3,
No, need
need 600.
600, and allocated is 302.
2.
Allocated is 302. Okay. 302. Is it less than work, which is 755?
Yes.
Yes. So 302 allocated to 0 plus work 755 is equals to new work, which is 10,
10,
5,
5, 7.
7. And we got the total number of resources here, right? We got the total number of resources. A was 10, B was 5, and C was 7. So we
Yeah.
got that. As well as we here P2 also completed. This is the safe sequence. This is the sequence in which if processes finish their execution, there won't be any deadlock. And the request is accepted. Which request actually from where we started? Why we started all this process? Because P1 requested 102. Because P1 requested 102, we started all this process, and we end up in a safe state. And safe sequence we could obtain. Therefore, that P1 can be given the requested resource of 102. Did you understand this whole process? Okay, so finally the safe sequence is P1, P3, P4, P0, P2. And it can be concluded that P1's request can be accepted, means and allocated, and resources can be allocated. Okay, with this we completed our deadlock avoidance, in which we studied the Banker's algorithm. The third, can I proceed to the third technique?
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
have any doubts in this?
No.
So within exams, we have to explain theory as well as with example, right, madam?
Yeah, if you get like this, there are different ways of framing a question for this problem. You can get a question like explain Banker's algorithm with example. Then you can take any number of processes, any number of resource instances, and that configuration you can take on your own and you can explain. In
Okay.
case you get a state, okay, in which you have these many processes, these many system configuration is given to you.
Okay.
Then you have to work on that those values which have been given to you.
Yeah. Based upon the given
Yeah,
question.
right. So there are two ways, but you should know the example. That's why I explained you this example. It's extremely important. This Banker's algorithm,
Hmm.
from exam point of view and from knowledge point of view, from operating system point of view only, you have to know this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, deadlock detection. We looked at deadlock prevention, deadlock avoidance, and now deadlock detection. When a system does not use deadlock prevention or deadlock avoidance, then deadlock may occur. When you prevent a deadlock, you ensure that any one of the four necessary conditions of deadlock do not hold. That is prevention. Avoidance is that whenever a process makes a request, then the system checks up whether that request lead to a deadlock or not by executing Banker's algorithm. If there is a safe state, safe sequence, then there is no need to deny or refuse the process request. It can be allocated. That is deadlock avoidance. Coming to deadlock detection, when you don't use prevention techniques or avoidance techniques, there are chances that deadlock might occur. When deadlock occurs, you have to detect it and then correct it. Means deadlock detection. Here in prevention and avoidance, deadlock will not occur at all. System ensures that system do not end up being in deadlock situation. Okay. Now deadlock detection is excuse me students. Okay, so deadlock detection, uh, in case deadlock occurs, system has to detect it. How system detects? So deadlock detection algorithm examines the state of the system, uh, and this examination of the system is performed to determine whether a deadlock has occurred or not. And then actually this has got two parts. First one is it needs an algorithm to uh, detect a deadlock, algorithm to detect a deadlock. And next this has got two parts, part A and part B. Part B is algorithm to recover from deadlock. Okay, if there is a deadlock, then recovery has to be done. Then how to detect? For single instance, for single instance of a resource, single instance of resource means every resource has only one instance. The example which we had looked at earlier had multiple instances of each resource. There are resources which occur only in a single instance, not multiple instances. So that to detect a deadlock in that type of resources, there is a graph known as wait for graph. Wait for graph. This wait for graph is a variant of this resource allocation graph. We studied resource allocation graph, RAG. This resource allocation graph variant is known as wait for graph, variant of resource allocation graph. And what it does is, it has these nodes that contains the process names, that means the processes that are waiting for the resources held up by other processes. So if P1 is waiting for a resource which has been held up by P2, then we write in this way: P1 is waiting for P2 to release a resource. P2 is waiting for P3 to release a resource. P3 is waiting for P4 to release a resource. P4 is waiting for P1 to release a resource. And P1 is waiting for P5 to release a resource. This is known as wait for graph. And if there is a cycle in this wait for graph, it is concluded that there is a deadlock in the system. Okay, this is the method that is used to detect a deadlock when there are single instances of resources. For multiple instances of resources, then we have to work on an algorithm which is similar to Banker's algorithm. So for several instances, what we have to do is, this algorithm also maintains data structures available, allocation, request, and the available indicates that number of available resources. Allocation is a matrix. It defines the number of resources currently allocated, and request is also a matrix that indicate the current request of each process. Okay, and then these are the data structures. Then algorithm is, the first step is similar to safety algorithm. Work and finish are declared and initialized, and then we have to find an index I of a process such that finish of I, similar to safety algorithm, whatever we did, finish of I is equals to false, and request of I is less than or equal to work, which is work is nothing but the available resources. Here again, if it is true, then you go to step 3. If it is false, you go to step 4. In step 3, what is done is work is equals to work plus allocation of I, and finish is equals to I. Okay, f of I is equals to true. And again go to step 2. Finally, in step 4, if finish of I is equals to false, here you see, here everything looks similar to the safety algorithm, where you are getting a difference when finish of I is equals to false for some I, okay, for some process Pi, for some process Pi, if finish of I is false, then the system is in, we can conclude that the system is in deadlock state. All right, what you can do is here, instead of taking this, because the example which I worked on has created a vector finish of I having true for all. When it has true for all, it means that there is no deadlock. Instead of requesting for 102, take some other example, a higher value. Instead of here 102, you take some higher value and then work on this example uh, to um, to find out a state which is not safe. It means where there is a deadlock present. All right. This is that deadlock detection, and after detection, how to recover. What are the mechanisms to recover from a deadlock? In order to recover from a deadlock, the the system can recover from deadlock by two options. There are two ways in which a system can recover from a deadlock. First method is to abort all the processes. Okay, to abort all the processes and restart. Sometimes we also restart the system when system gets stuck up, so that getting the system in that state and switching it, restarting it is like this, aborting all the processes and beginning from scratch. And another method is to preempt. You can preempt the resources from the processes which uh, which are in this cycle, deadlock cycle. See, if you start preempting and giving to the you again, further you have different policies and strategies. You for P1 and P2, if P1 is requesting for P2, what you can do, you can preempt resources from P2 and give to P1, and so that at least P1 will finishes, and then later P2 will start from beginning. So different ways are there to recover from that. So this is about protection. With this, we have completed our deadlock concept. Any doubts in this deadlock? No? Then we'll move on to the next topic of third unit, which is protection. Okay, if I complete this protection, we will finish our third unit, so that we can complete unit 4 and 5 in the subsequent classes. Okay, so protection. What is protection? Protection means protection is a set of mechanisms that controls access to the processes or to the resources. It is a set of mechanisms to control access to resources. What is the difference between security and protection? Control access to resources. Can anyone tell me the difference between security and protection? Here I am talking about protection. What is protection? What are the goals of protection? How is it different from security?
So Lappy protection will install quick heal, not to get a virus. Same in the way, uh, there is a process to only to not to misuse the resources. Hello.
Yeah. Okay, one way of saying this is whatever you said. Another way is that security deals with authentication, that is external problem. It's logging problem. It deals with authentication.
That is
Yeah.
authorization, right? Authorization needed.
Protection is authorization. There is a difference between authorization and authentication. Can anyone tell me what is the difference? I'll give you an analogy. Here, suppose this is a college, okay, and this college has got this is the college boundary, and here you have a gate, college gate. Here there is a watchman, okay. So then what happens is a student arrives here. When a student arrives to enter into the college, student has to produce his ID card, okay, to enter in this campus itself. Hmm? There are some colleges that does not allow outsiders, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
how are they doing that? They are asking for the proof. If I go and say to a college A that I am your student, then they ask me to produce my ID card. So that is authentication. This is external problem. Means in order to enter into the system, to enter only you have to prove that you are the one who you are claiming. If I am claiming that I am the student of this college, I have to prove that I am the student. That is authentication. Now after I enter inside the college, now this student, suppose um, this student
That
has,
could be a user credential, for example, entering any of the system, right?
yeah, this is user credentials.
Okay.
This authentication is user credentials, what you enter, username and password.
Okay.
That is security. Once I enter in the college, what are my limits, and what are my rights, what are my privileges, and what are the permissions for a student? What is his permission? He can enter in his classroom and he can attend his lectures. Can he, suppose this is our principal's chamber, can any student go and sit on principal's seat?
No.
No, because he is not authorized to do that. He does not have the permission to do that.
Or for example, if the student is engineering student, he can't enter the labs of biology classes like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that way only. Means he has got some permissions within the, even within the college, internally within the college, he can't do whatever he wish. So in a computer system, in order for a user to enter, he has to provide username, password, or credentials. After he enter in the system, whatever he wish he can't do. He can't open all the files, he can't do modifications to any file like that. So what he can do, he has certain permissions. So suppose he has a permission to create a file, so he can create f1 file, then he can delete f1 file. This is user 1. Suppose there is another user 2. Okay, user 2 also has access to this system. In one laptop you can create multiple users, and then you can restrict other user not to access your contents, your files, right? You can create a password for your file. That way, if user 2 may not write to a file, may be able to write, can read. So these are different permissions. So this is all about protection. So the goals of protection is it protects user from one another, and programs that access the resources have to have the permissions to access. Only then they can access. And then how to implement this protection? In order to implement this protection, it can go for a domain structure. What is a domain structure? You can have multiple domains into which different users can belong. Okay, here you may have 10 users, here you may have 20 users, here you may have 50 users. So this is domain 1, this is domain 2, this is domain 3. Not always the domain is concerned with having a user. Each user can also be one domain. There may be a domain with a single user. Likewise, you have multiple domains, and then you have an access matrix. An access matrix is a protection model. It is a matrix which has um, this domains and the objects. These objects are nothing but the resources. You can have file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4, file 5, or printer, or any any resource here. As a matter of fact, you can have any resource. It's not limited or restricted only to have these logical resources, which are files. You can have physical resources as well, hardware resources. Here you can have domains, domain D1, D2, D3, D4, and then each domain in this cell that denotes IJ. For DI means D1 domain. For file 1, what are the permissions? You can have read, write, execute, okay, delete, or whatever permissions. Here only execute, here only read, here only read, here read, write, here only write, here write and execute. This is known as access matrix.
Or it can be called as authorization matrix also.
Yeah, it can also be called as an authorization matrix. So what is the use of this authorization matrix?
Which
It
restrict the
facilitates,
user to particular file for reading or
yes.
writing.
In other words, it is protecting.
Yes.
What it is protecting? The resources of a system, and it is controlling the access. Here, it's like you're controlling. What are you controlling? The D1 can access.
Only file 1 and
Yes.
file 5.
Yes. So that way it is restricting the access. Okay, this is all about
Domain
this
protection.
domain protection and access matrix. And protection. Protection is, you know, controlling the access to the resources. So, okay, students, you have any doubts in this third unit?
No, ma'am.
Okay, did you go through the questions from the question bank?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able to
Question
answer
bank.
the questions based on what we are discussing in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
For unit wise, the questions that you have provided, right, madam?
Yeah. Did you go through them? Did you try to answer without referring?
No, madam, no. Because that is each
You
unit, I
please.
think, having 20 questions, madam.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah. But then that way only you could cover the entire syllabus and obtain the knowledge about that operating system.
Yes, we understand that, madam. I think we actually, our intention is to get the model paper. I mean, it's a 2-3 model paper, how the question will be there, what kind
So
of
previous
format.
papers you will find no like this question, the kind of questions only will come because the questions will be in this format only. But and previous paper, if you go look at, then you will get to know the format. So if you just merge both, you will get a model paper kind of.
Yeah, that means for every unit there is a, I mean to say, long concept question will be there. And
You don't know the pattern?
no,
No,
that's why no
ma'am.
we are asking. That's why we are asking, right?
Okay. Then I will find out and I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
tomorrow I will
that
let you
means
know the
yeah,
first.
for every
Okay.
unit there will be one long answer. I mean the question and one short, right? This way.
Okay. The question paper format I will let you know.
Okay.
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 Ma'am,
Anything else? Tell me.
ma'am, do you have any idea about exams or practicals or anything?
practicals and all. No, 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 no. I think Mr. Venugopal can
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
know about that. If you can contact him, you will get to know.
Sure, sure.
So for unit three, madam, what are the four important points, madam? That is banker algorithm.
From Unit
What
3?
are- Yeah,
Yes.
important questions could become. I mean to say, but we have to be thorough with examples, everything.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I will just look at all that concepts, and otherwise for some time I will also join this group.
Yeah.
That would be better. I will so that I can post.
Yes,
So
ma'am. Sure.
yes, yes, yes. Unit wise, if
I
you do, that will be
don't
very helpful,
think
madam.
these official groups should be meant only for official talk. But if
Yes.
we start doing casual conversation, then it
No, ma'am.
becomes. That's why I exited from that group. You should not have a casual conversation in official groups
Yes, yes, that is true.
where you have your faculty members as members.
Yeah, yeah, of
So
course.
then
Email.
you just maintain that. Don't do any kind of general talk in that. Only this about classes, about
PGDC, yes, yes.
exams, about tests, about patterns. All this we can talk.
Yeah, we
Yes,
actually,
ma'am.
as an admin, we would post that no such restriction. Don't do anything. Only
Yeah, yeah,
course-related post you have to do it.
yeah, yeah.
Whether it is don't do anything of Corona, this flood, nothing. Because we have, there are many other channels where we'll
Really,
get information.
Yes, sir.
yeah, became a political platform for discussion at that time. Everybody was discussing.
Yes, yes.
Everybody
Yes.
was giving their opinions about big concepts and topics of. Okay,
Yes,
anyway,
yes.
uh,
Wonderful.
Papers are
see
ready.
you tomorrow. I'll try
Yeah.
to complete unit 4 and 5 through slides. Not this way, it's taking more time. Through slides, I'll try to complete so that we.
Tomorrow you're taking unit 4.
Yeah,
Okay,
but tomorrow
fine.
I'll take as per the timetable at 3:40.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, please post this recording also.
Yeah, I will
Post the
post it.
recording, yes.
Now anyway I'm joining this group, but there's something it is saying that group does not exist.
Oh,
Join open WhatsApp. Okay, join group. Right. Now I have joined. I will post the recording, and this today's writings, scribblings also I will post.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay then. Bye bye.
ma'am.
Okay.
Can you
Bye
share
bye. Thank
some
you.
PPTs, ma'am?
Yeah, I will share the PPTs as well.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay
Thank
then.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye, ma'am.